Hi guys, Colin from Run Venture. Today we're just going to look at how do you know when your running shoes have had it. So generally there's certain conditions. The average is around 500 miles. However, there are a few different things to consider. How do you measure that 500 miles? Work out what your average mileage is a week, and then obviously work that out from the 500 mile target. Sometimes if you log what shoes you use on Strava, you can actually see it. But bear in mind, running shoes are designed for running. So if you use them casually, just use them around the house, walking to the pub, things like that, then that mileage counts as well. So even though you may not Strava walking to the pub or around at work and stuff, you've got to take that into consideration. Other things consideration, a minimalistic shoe doesn't tend to last as long as some of your more traditionally heavy cushion shoes, mainly because there's not as much cushion in there. So you're probably reducing that down to a 300 mile-ish mark. Obviously I'm averaging here a little bit, and there's a lot more things that dependent. If you are a heavier runner, bigger boned, for want of a better phrase, then generally you're not going to get as much wear out of them as well. That's not being sizist or anything, that's just fact. So yeah, so got to take that into consideration as well. Other things then, you can start to look at the shoe itself, and I've got a pair of Hoka Arahis which I've been using to trial for the test, which is on previous videos. So looking at them, obviously you can see there's a little bit of dirt and wear. First thing you're going to check is the sole and the overlays and the patterns. Are there any bits where the material is coming off? Sometimes on shoes, some of this overlay here, the protective overlay, can come off, and you can just sort of glue it back down. If it comes off very early, obviously return them to the store, and then we'll get a replacement, provided they've not done a stupid amount of miles, or this is a road shoe and you've not used it to climb a mountain or something. So yeah, look at that. Are there any burrs and wear? Are there any splits in the sole at all? The most part of wear on any shoe, and you'll start to feel it in your joints and things. If you're starting to pick up niggles and things, then probably the midsole is gone. And this is the bit in here, not the outer sole here and not the upper, but the midsole. I can see it better on probably this side here. This bit here tends to compress down, and not when you first get a pair of shoes, it has some return of energy, some bounce. After a while that compresses, and it just becomes hard. If the upper's still okay and the outer sole, protective sole, is okay, you could probably then use those for some speed work. So it's almost like a racing flat. There's not as much cushion in it, but then your body, your form probably is better, and your body will take most of the cushioning. So you could retire them for sort of like a racing shoe. However, things to look out for, you're not going to see it on here because there isn't any just yet, but sometimes you get little lines here, like little fracture lines, where the actual midsole is compressed down and it won't spring back. We'll talk about carer shoes in a second. So that is a couple of the things to look out for. Obviously, if the uppers start to worn away, toes and holes and stuff, obviously dirt and things and is going to start to get in the shoe. It may start to rub on your feet and blister and stuff, so that's another consideration as well. Also check inside this bit here. If you've not been using the lace lock, or the shoe's ill-fitting and it's moving around, the calcaneus bone on the heel will rub a hole in there. That padding then will expose the plastic cup, and then you end up like being like a ham slice shaving across your Achilles, so you don't want that as well. So look around for that. On the footbed, make sure the footbed's fully intact. I have seen somebody saying they were getting some foot pain and some blisters on the fall of the front. It's because when we took the footbed out, there was a big hole here and it had worn through. And then that exposes you to the hard sole inside the shoe. So check the footbed as well. Other things or tests I like to see if they've actually done as well is, can I bend the shoe almost back double on itself? Now these have done quite a few miles, they're still okay, but Hokas don't really bend here as mentioned in previous reviews, but obviously I can bend that now, so it's on its way out. Another test I like to do is to grab it and can I fold the shoe in half, and if I can easily and it's just a normal cushioned running shoe, then again that's probably there or thereabouts, it's done. The other thing is to come into store and actually try on a pair of shoes and identify what you had and actually feel the difference, and then you'll know that if you need to replace the running shoes. So care of the running shoes, we talked about cleaning them, obviously a little bit of dirt on these, so fairly superficial, so that's fine. When you take them off to extend the life of the shoes, undo the laces. Really annoys me. I was going to swear then that people come in and show me their old shoes and they're still laced up. Means they're probably ill-fitting, means they probably stood on the back of the shoe to pull it off and then all of a sudden wonder why the sole's coming off. Undo your shoes. It's just laziness. Undo them. So that will extend the life of the shoes, because then you can undo them and just slip them off. Okay. Other things, don't just throw them outside in a tub somewhere to let them compress. Let them breathe a little bit. Just let the energy, the energy in the sole return. Don't stack anything on top of them. So that will help a little bit. Air them as well. Foot fungus and horrible stuff like that will rot these shoes. So air them. Take the footbed out of them. So that one is one way at looking after them as well. As I say, clean them, get some of the dirt off to stop anything rotting. Okay, so that's about it for how to know whether to look after your whether you need to replace the running shoes. If in doubt, bring them into store. Have a cup of coffee, have a chat about running with us, and then I can actually, or one of the staff can actually look and say, no, actually they're fine. We are not money grabbers. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, you need to replace those shoes, get rid of those old ones. But we will honestly give you an opinion and say, look, if you don't need to replace them, don't replace them. However, look at these as future. On that, to help extend the life of a shoes, one last point. It's good to rotate. Not everybody's flush with money, but if you can get 2 pairs of shoes, so let's say if I want to replace these eventually, it's probably got another couple 100 miles in them, is to get another pair now and use this for older pair, then the newer pair. And obviously the models change a little bit, so it's always good to sort of transition into a different shoe. It's like when you change your car, all of a sudden the indicators are on the wrong side, it just doesn't feel the same. So and it'll extend the life. So if you're, say, getting 6 months wear out of these and you've got 2 pairs, then obviously you get 12 months wear out of these, and it extends the life of them a little bit. So there's another top tip. Okay guys, look after yourselves, mind how you run, and speak soon. Bye.